Hey, Mahnaim Memberstack here, and welcome to Memberscript 201. In this video, I'm going to show you how to integrate PayPal with Memberstack to either accept one-time payments or subscription payments. This is a completely custom workaround and not an official Memberstack integration. Memberstack does currently work with Stripe as its primary payment processor, and this is just a solution for you if you are using PayPal on your website. Okay, so for one-time payments, what a user will see is your pricing plan set up for one-time payments. And if they click on Pay with PayPal, they will be redirected to a checkout window where they can then pay for that one-time purchase. Okay, so the user will click on Pay, and then they'll be redirected back to the success page where they can now see that that payment has been processed and verified. Okay, inside of Memberstack, they will have a plan added to their account for getting access to pages after they've made a one-time payment. Okay, so for subscription payments, it works the same, but just a little bit different. If a user wants to subscribe to the basic or the business plan, what they'll do is click on the Pay with PayPal button. They'll be redirected to a checkout window for subscriptions. And over here, they can see that it is $29 a month. And then that subscription starts on the 8th of January. And they can agree and pay. And then from this, they're directed to the success page where the payment will be processed, and then to the customer portal where they can now see their active subscriptions. From here, they have the option to either keep the subscription or cancel the subscription. Right now, when a user has a subscription, a plan is added to their account inside of Memberstack. So this user has a basic plan, so the free plan of basic is added to their account. This way, it will allow you to gate pages to anyone that has the basic plan. If a user cancels their subscription over here, it cancels inside of PayPal and then removes the plan inside of Memberstack. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to show you how to set things up inside of Memberstack, and then what you need to do inside of Webflow, PayPal, and finally the automation inside of Make. Okay, so in Memberstack, you are going to set up 3 custom fields. You are going to have a field for Memberstack Plan ID, and this is going to help with the plan cancellation flow. So Memberstack Plan ID and then PayPal Customer ID, and then you're also going to have Plan Status. So you set those 3 custom fields up. Then you're also going to create a data table over here, and you're going to name it PayPal Payments. And this is where all of your payments will be recorded, whether a user has subscribed to a plan, and then you can see that that plan is currently active. And if they cancel a plan like this, that status will change to canceled. Okay, so your PayPal payments table is going to have the following fields. You're going to have a member reference field because we want to know who initiated that payment, and that's going to be required. And then you're going to have a payment ID field. This field is specifically for one-time payments. If you aren't processing one-time payments, you do not need this field. You're going to have the plan name, and that is for subscription payments. If you aren't dealing with subscription payments, you do not need to have plan name within your table. Okay, so plan name, which is going to be a text field, plan ID verified. So if a payment is verified, that will set the status as true, the date it was verified at, the subscription ID, and then you're going to have payment type. So it's either going to be a one-time payment or subscription payment. And then the status, which is either going to be active or canceled, and then the next billing date for subscription plans. And that is going to be it that you need to add to your payments, your PayPal payments table. Okay, so another thing you need to note with the payment table over here, this key is the one that you're going to need to add inside of Webflow. So in Webflow, firstly, you are going to need to add 2 things. You're going to need to add this PayPal SDK, and you can just copy and paste that. And you're going to replace your client ID over here with your own business client ID. And I'll show you shortly a way to get that client ID. Okay, and then you're also going to add Memberscript 201 to the footer code. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link to that code should be in the description below. And if you're watching this on the Memberstack site, then you should have already seen the code. You can copy and paste this as is. At the top part of the script is any configurations that you'd like to change. For example, if you'd like to change the PayPal button color, the radius, and the language on the button, you would customize it over here. And then you'd also customize the status colors and any error messages within the script over here, and then any animations over here. Okay. Now we're going to go into Webflow and show you how to build your pricing page. Okay, so now you have set up your data table inside of Memberstack and you have added the script to your Webflow website. The next thing to do is to create your pricing UI. And then over here, inside your pricing div, you are going to have another div, which is going to be where your PayPal button will be rendered. And you're going to name that PayPal button wrapper or anything you'd like to name it, but you're going to make sure that it has the following attributes. Firstly, data MS code PayPal container, and then the amount. So for this is for one-time payments. So the amount, which is $29 US, the currency, the table. Now this is where we're going to pay the data table key that we got from Memberstack. So PayPal payments. And then the member field reference is going to be member. The default plan, this is the plan that we're adding to the user after they have paid for your one-time plan. So your one-time payment. So in this case, the plan is this one, and you can get that from Memberstack as well once you've set up a plan for that. And then the payment type is going to be one time, and then your redirect URL. Mine is the success page, but if you're redirecting a user after they've made a purchase, redirect them to another page, and then you'll change that slug over here. Okay. And then within your PayPal, your payment button wrapper, you have the button container. And that button container for one-time payments, you have PayPal button container -0 as an ID. All right, and that is it for your one-time payments. For subscription payments, it works almost the same way. So within the subscription payment div for the pricing plans, you have another button container, and above that, the button container is wrapped within a subscription wrapper. Within the subscription wrapper, you are going to add the attributes of data MS code PayPal container, and then subscription plan ID. This ID is the ID that you'll get from PayPal once you have created a subscription. And then you have default plan. This is the plan that is added to a user once they have subscribed for this particular subscription. You can also get that from Memberstack. And then the payment type is subscription. The plan name is going to be basic plan or whatever your plan name is. And this is going to display within their customer portal. And then you have your redirect URL. In this case, once a subscription has gone through, I'm redirecting a user to customer portal. And if you're redirecting them to another page, you change that redirect URL over here. Okay, so that is the same. So that was the business plan, and that is the same for the that was the basic plan. That is the same for the business plan. You are going to have the same attributes, but in this case, my plan name is going to be premium, and then my default plan is going to have another plan ID, also from Memberstack. And then the subscription ID is also different because this is a different subscription. And the redirect URL is also customer portal. Okay, so that is the UI for your pricing page. And that is all that you need to add to this page. The next thing you're going to do is to create another page called your customer portal page. And this is where you're now going to allow users to view their subscriptions if they have any active subscriptions. Okay, this page you are going to have two things. Firstly, you are going to have a form block, which is going to be your usual profile update form for Memberstack. That has the attribute of data MS form profile. And then the fields are any fields that you'd like a user to update. And then on the right side, or wherever you want to put your subscription wrapper for active subscriptions, you are then going to have this div, subscription wrapper, and that's going to have the attribute of data MS code subscriptions container. Within that container, you are going to add the following things. So you are going to have subscription status, which is going to be your loading status if a user has any active subscriptions. So that's what they'll see first. So that is going to have the attribute of data MS code subscription loading. And then you're also going to have an empty state if a user does not have any active subscriptions. And that's going to have the attribute of data MS code subscriptions empty. This div is always going to be set to display none. Right, and then within that, after that, you're going to have another div, which is going to have your subscription list. So if I just set that to display flex for you to see how that looks like. Subscription list is going to have the attribute of data MS code subscriptions list. And then in that, you are going to have a header, which is going to have your title of your subscriptions. And then you are going to have a badge. So if a user's subscription is active, and that badge is going to have the attribute of data MS code subscription badge. So the one over here is the plan, and then you have the ID and then the billing date. So yes, data MS code ID text and then data MS code billing. So on the live page, you can see that that is the basic plan. It has the plan ID, which is from PayPal, and then their next billing date over here. And that plan is set to active. That container for subscription, for your subscription list over here is going to always be set to display none. Within your subscription list, you are going to have two messages over here. So the first message is going to be your error message if a user was not able to successfully cancel their subscription. So if I just did that to display flex as well, you can see that this subscription ID was not found. Please contact customer support. That message has the attribute of data MS code cancel error. And then your other message for successfully canceling a subscription will have the attribute of data MS code cancel subscription. That too has to be set to display none. Within this subscription list, yes, we touched on the customer portal, and the attributes on this customer portal are data MS code subscription and data MS code subscription ID, and that's all you need to add on that. Within your subscription wrapper, you have a cancel module. So on the customer portal page, if you want cancel subscription, this is the modal that will appear for users once they want to cancel their subscription. Inside of Webflow, if I set that to a flex, this is how that module will look like, and you can get the information over here as well. That overlay wrapper has the attribute of data MS code cancel modal, and then within your modal, you have your actions, and your actions have the attribute of data MS code delete modal actions, and then your keep subscription button has the attribute of data MS code cancel no, and your cancel subscription button has the attribute of data MS code cancel yes. You're also going to set that overlay or that modal to play none over here. What I do recommend with your customer and subscription wrapper is just to copy and paste this entire wrapper as is. You can edit the styling, you can edit the text, but to make sure that nothing breaks, just copy and paste the entire wrapper. The only thing that you should be able to see is the loading state and a button for them to add a plan. All right, let me show you how to set up your plans now inside of PayPal. With PayPal, you are going to need to have a business PayPal account. Firstly, what you'll see once you've entered your developer account for PayPal is your client ID and then client secret over here. Your client ID is what you are going to add to your SDK inside of Webflow. So that over here in your head code, that client ID, this entire line is what you are going to replace with your own client ID. Okay, that's the first step. This entire script is in sandbox mode. So if you are going to be live, then you're going to have a completely different client ID. So you'd go to live, take the live client ID, and you'll add that to the SDK in Webflow. Okay. The next thing you're going to do now is go to your PayPal business dashboard. And then within, you're going to go to options. Right now, as you can see, I have two subscription plans. I have basic and I have premium, and they all fall under the same product. In this case, it's Memberstack 201, and they are all active. So if I go to subscriptions, you'll also be able to see all of the subscriptions that are currently active and have not yet been canceled. And then how you would create a new plan is you'd go to click on create plan, and then you'd either choose an existing product or you create a completely new subscription product. So in this case, I will choose Memberstack 201, and then I'll choose either fixed pricing, quantity, volume, tiered pricing, depending on your specific use case. In this case, fixed pricing. And then I would give that another name. You can also give that plan a description. And then you would go through all of this information. So your currency is going to be either US dollars or what your local currency is. You can either charge a one-time fee or for a trial, or have unlimited billing cycles or limited billing cycles. In this case, I'm going to give this 60 US dollars, and that's going to be every 1 month. And any tax information and missed cycle stipulations over here. Make sure that you turn auto billing on for outstanding payments. And you're going to click on next. You're going to verify your information over here. So the most important thing that you need from this page is to make sure that your plan name has been set. It's either fixed pricing or what the type of plan type that you'd like to offer. You have set a price, and it is per 1 month. You're going to turn that plan on. Once you have turned the plan on, you'll be redirected to this set a PayPal checkout. You can just click to that later because you do not need. You see that you've set up. Now this ID that you see above here is the one that you're going to add inside of Webflow. So you're going to copy that and go back to Webflow. And then on your price page, for subscription payments, you are going to go to your button container and then subscription. And you can see over here, it says subscription plan ID. So that plan ID is what you now add to this attribute. Okay, and that is how you set up plans inside of PayPal. For one-time plans, you do not have to go through this entire process because it just processes the one-time plan, and it's not a subscription plan. Okay, so the next thing we're going to touch on now is how to set up your automation inside of Make. Also, another thing to note is that right now I'm doing everything in sandbox mode. So things like your plans, your client ID, any keys that you have, API keys, if you are in live, you need to use the live versions of these keys. But for testing purposes, please use the sandbox keys and all your sandbox keys and plans, and make sure that all of this works. With Make, the only thing we're using Make for right now is to automate the process of when a user cancels a plan. So the first model is to watch for a user is updated. And what we're updating when a user clicks on the cancel button is 3 fields inside of Memberstack. So we update the Memberstack plan ID, the PayPal customer ID, and the plan status, because we want to know what plan has been canceled, and then what plan or what customer canceled a plan, and then what plan inside of Memberstack needs to be removed. Okay. Over here we have a filter, and this is only going to run once that status, plan status field inside of Memberstack has been changed to cancel. So once it's changed to cancel, it will run this automation. This is just here so that this automation doesn't trigger every time a user updates their profile or any other updates are made to a user. Okay, so the next two modals over here interact with PayPal. We have an HTTP request to PayPal, and this is in order to first get a token that we're going to use for the next modal. So for basic authentication, yes, your username is going to be your PayPal client ID, and then your password is going to be your PayPal secret ID. Okay, the URL is going to be set up. Right now, mine is to the Sandbox API, and that's in order to get the token. But if you're in live mode, that URL looks completely different. All of this information and all of the setups for Webflow, Memberstack, PayPal, as well as Make is available in the documentation in the description below. So you can go through all of the steps in order to make this easier for you. For the most part, you do not have to change a lot of information inside of Make, but if you are in live mode, the URLs and your API, the URLs, your client ID and your secret, PayPal secret, will change to the live mode. Okay, so that is going to be the URL over here. You're going to set the method to post, and then your content type is going to be set to this value, and then you are going to have your body set to this value, and then you're going to have your body content, which is going to be grant underscore type, and then your value is going to be client underscore credentials, and you're going to save that. And from this, you're going to you are going to get a token, and that token is now what you're going to use in the next modal, and that is going to trigger the PayPal API to get a customer inside of PayPal and then cancel their subscription. Okay, so for this modal, we are going to have a post request, and this is going to be the URL, and now this is where the custom fields come in. So over here, we are going to say we want to cancel a particular subscription for a particular customer. And that customer ID is what you'll get from the Memberstack customer ID field. The method is set to post. Your headers are going to be content type application JSON. Authentication is now going to be set to the token that was generated in the first modal. Body content type is application JSON, body string, and then you're going to have body input method is JSON string, and then body content is going to be set to this reason. So it's just canceling a subscription via Memberstack. Okay, so the next modal is just to remove a free plan from that member once that has been successfully canceled, because we don't want a user to still have access to gated content once they have canceled a subscription inside of Webflow. So that is going to be your Memberstack ID to find the specific user, and then the plan that you're going to cancel, again, the custom field that we're going to use is the Memberstack plan ID over here. Okay, and then we're going to update that user with, we're going to update that same user by just clearing those fields. So we're going to set the Memberstack plan ID to null, plan status, as well as over here, I can just find it. PayPal customer ID will also be set to null over here. Once you've set all of this up, you can save and set that automation to run immediately. And that is the last step. So we've gone through setting up Webflow, we've set up Memberstack, and we've set up PayPal and Make as well. You now have a way to have PayPal on your Webflow website. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out in the Slack 2.0 channel. All right, bye.